What up, everybody? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I am delivering your June 2019 general forecast. This is for all signs. This is what we're all going to be going through and experiencing in the month of June. This is what the energy is like, or the cosmic weather is what it's like. So don't forget to stay posted to the description box, where I will have links to my website. If I have any specials on any readings, or if I have horoscopes that are available by sign, you can find that information in the description box. I will have links there. I do have some stuff in the works. I cannot give any definitive dates on things right now, but I will have some stuff, and stay posted to my Instagram for up-to-date things as far as what sales, specials, or any type of info that I have going on. So I am at Cosmic Homegirl all together on Instagram. So I'm mostly on there. Stay posted to that. I'm also on Facebook under Cosmic Homegirl, and on Twitter as well. So let's see what's cracking for the month of June 2019. Just a general forecast of what's going on. Well, we do have, now Venus is going to be making a lot of aspects this month. I can tell you that right off the bat. I don't know why people say right off the back. I think it's right off the bat. Like I believe that saying came from baseball, and baseball has been around for a long time. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. It's an old saying, at least for those of us in my generation and younger. We've adapted it and adopted it from our elders. But right away, Venus makes an aspect to Pluto, like right at the beginning of the month. We ended May with Venus making a trine aspect to Saturn. Now, Saturn and Pluto are together in the sign of Capricorn. And they're both earth signs, and these are both planets of destroy and rebuild. Like break something down all the way down to the ground, or to the ashes, or burn it down, or whatever. And then you start over again and you rebuild it. And if something is destroyed, it's for the greater good. And it can hurt, yes, but when you build it back up again, there's a sense of renewal, and it's bigger and better than it was before. And both of these planets are also retrograde. So, there is a lot of like karmic stuff involved with like going back, bringing things back, going back over things to make them better for the next time around. So Venus is making aspects to these planets. Right away, we still have Venus trine. We have Venus trine Saturn still. Venus is on June 1st, it's 20 degrees. Saturn is 19. Pluto is 22. So, it's still in the vicinity of degrees of these two planets. So what does that mean? It does mean right away, with Venus ruling value and money and love and material possessions, it's any of those things. There are some like questions that we are asking ourselves. There may be some destroy and rebuild, but since this is a trine aspect, it's gentler. If it was an opposition or a conjunction, I'd be like, whoa, this is kind of like the Tower card, like something like kind of falling down, and it could be unexpected. It could be tough and difficult, but there can be some difficulties still involved with a trine. But like I said, it's a lighter energy. It's gentler. It's not like a jab, like a jarring. It's kind of like easing into something. So there could be an easing into a breaking down and rebuilding of something with money or love, or your sense of self-worth, or how you value others or value yourself, value the material world. So, but with Venus trine Pluto, now if this was just Pluto by itself that it was making an aspect to, I would say it would be a little wild, Now Pluto and Saturn can both deal with fear of the unknown, fear of change. Paranoia is more Pluto. Fear and doubt is Saturn. So even though this is a good aspect, maybe there could be a little bit of fear and doubt that is brought to us when it comes to love or finances, like fear of taking a leap of faith, for example. Maybe we're being cautious, but sometimes it could be being overly cautious to where you talk yourself into being afraid. Oh, well, this is like Venus and Saturn aspects can be, well, I'm not sure about this because I'm thinking about serious and long term. So I don't know if this in the moment fun, thing, even though there's a lot of positive things going on, I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll really like, if it's something that'll stick. So I don't even know if I'm going to go for this or allow myself to experience this. And then the aspect to Pluto can mean, well, maybe there's some fear, like fear of what can go wrong. Like both of these planets can deal with fear of what can go wrong. But this is like serious, like life or death, like, oh my gosh, if I go along with this idea, then, this can put me in a life or death situation. Or if I go along with, a relationship with this person or an experience with this person, maybe it could lead to the destruction of my heart and soul or something. They can snatch it away. It's things like that, that the trine can kind of open the door to. But like I said, it's not jarring. But these thoughts can ease in, though. They can ease into us. So what I would say that this aspect is good for, though, is building some things long term. Maybe because they are retrograde, there's a review and revise period that's very heavily involved. But it's still like, now, is this really worth my time and energy? Is this person worth my time and energy? Are they worth investing in? Pluto can deal with the soul, like deep down to the core of your inner being. And so maybe there's some relationship stuff that you're thinking about, like, is this worth it? Because is this worth me sharing my soul with this person or whatever, So we could be thinking about stuff like that. It's not such a wild energy. Venus and Pluto aspects alone can sometimes bring obsession. Because it's a trine and because it's in grounded earth energy, maybe it's a healthy obsession. Hey, I'm a Scorpio rising. We're all about the obsession. Okay. Like obsession is a way of life. So there's good and bad forms of obsession. Maybe it's like being really driven towards things with this Venus ruling value and money, and it's in its home sign of Taurus, which rules the same things. This is like double that value and worth and that type of theme. And, so I feel like this could be building something for the long term that's going to generate wealth well beyond the moment. Okay, so that's just a brief on this. Of course, you guys know I do weekly forecasts, and I will elaborate more on these aspects and stuff, during that time when we're going through it and we're experiencing it. And I usually like to report the news like, yo, like, yeah, this is what's really happening in real time along with this aspect. So I'll talk more about it then when I go over the first week of June. So, but yeah, we have this Venus trine Pluto. And it's still trine Saturn as well when we start the month. Now, here's one of the bigger things. June 3rd, let's skip ahead to June 3rd. We have a new moon in Gemini. So this is when the sun and moon come together in the same sign at the same degree. And so I am on Pacific time. I always tell you guys that. So sorry if I'm being repetitive, but it's because I make sure, because you can see the time here that I'm working with. And that's why I skip back, to match them up to the exact aspect. So anyway, let's say around like between 2-3 a.m. Pacific time, US time. So early in the morning on the East Coast, and in the eastern part of the world, it's probably the afternoon, maybe early evening for some of you guys, that we have a new moon in Gemini. So this means the sun and moon are together in the sign of Gemini. It's at 12 degrees of Gemini. And if you were born around or on June 3rd, like say give or take a few days, then that means if your birthday is around a new moon, it really is a time of new beginnings. Like this really is a new year for you, as it is every single year. But it is a new year for you. So that means you're going to have some like real deal new beginnings. Okay. But for all of us, what is this going to do? Well, new moons, they are about newness. Hello, new moon, right? But this is when the moon goes dark in the sky. the sun and moon are together, and so the sun is not reflecting its light upon the moon, but they're together though. Like, so this is a masculine energy and feminine energy coming together to birth something. So it has to go dark for a minute, and then seeds have to be planted. Somebody asked me about that before when I said seeds are planted. They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, it's not in a literal sense, okay? It really means like symbolically, metaphorically. Seeds are planted. So you are planting a new beginning somewhere. But sometimes if we use the metaphor of planting seeds, right? We think of the ground that they're planted in has to be fertile or fertile, however you want to pronounce it. It has to be fertile. So there might have to be some things that are wiped out first. Make sure the soil is clean so that the grounds that the seeds are planted in they'll be fruitful, like they will actually grow and manifest something. So sometimes a new moon can mean not something new is brought in right away, but something old is wiped out first, okay? And then the grounds are fertile, and then the newness can cultivate. And that is usually when the days after the new moon, or even the next couple weeks after the new moon, is when you may see things actually manifest in front of you and grow, because the moon is quote unquote growing in the sky, right? So anyway, new moon on June 3rd. This is in Gemini, so this has to do with, in general, it's, learning new things. It is newness in itself. Gemini is all about the new. Like, every day is a new day. Every day you're a new person. Every day you wear a different face. You could change your mind within a second. You could have said something like 5 minutes ago, and then 5 minutes later you're like, nah, I don't like that. I didn't mean that. I'm not down with that. So yeah, that's what Gemini energy is like. It's newness, and it's ever changing energies and ever changing things in life. So this is like accepting change and newness, because after Taurus comes Gemini, right? And Taurus energy is about staying the same and hanging on to the same things for the sake of comfort and security, and staying in the same spot forever, like digging your hooves in the ground stubbornly and just staying there, right? But after that comes Gemini, which is like, no, here's a new lesson for us in the human experience here, okay? Things change, and we have to accept that, and we have to go with the winds of change. So that's what the purpose of Gemini is. So in a sense, I guess, generally speaking, we have this lesson embedded within this new moon. Like, the winds of change are always flowing, and whatever, we just got to catch it and ride with it. So, and yeah, Gemini is about communication. It's about learning new skills. So maybe there could be something that comes about for all of us generally, collectively, that has to do with that. Maybe we're all like introduced to something new. Maybe there's a new gadget of technology or something that we're curious about. Gemini energy is very curious too. So there's a curiosity that we have that may need to be satisfied. Maybe it's learning a lesson, and you know what? If you're curious about something, go check it out. Go learn about it. Go see what it's about before you dismiss it and just stick to the same. Dig your hooves in the ground. Say, nah, I'm not gonna. I'm not going anywhere. I'm solid. I'm sticking right here, sticking to the script. This new moon in Gemini is like, well, wait, hold up. What's that over there though? What's that shiny object that just caught my attention? Let me go check it out. I never know what it can hold for me. Maybe it holds something good. Maybe there's something that I can learn from whatever that is over there that I'm curious about that can be life-changing. You never know until you try. That's a Gemini saying, classic. I attract Geminis like bees to honey. They're one of those signs. We all have several signs that we attract like that. For me, Gemini is one of them. For my fellow nerds who understand all the ASTRO lingo, I have Gemini as my 8th house And the eighth house can rule like the signs that you're like obsessed with and you have a love hate with. And then also I have Mercury conjunct the sun in my chart, and I have Mercury in my seventh house of other people. So I love mercurial people, and I am very mercurial myself in many ways. So I attract Gemini people, and I'm around them a lot, and I observe them, and I know like there's a lot of certain little sayings that they say. They always say right, right, right. If somebody says that a lot and they haven't even allowed you to finish your sentence yet, that's a Gemini. Okay. If they say things and then they twist things around, and they make you question your own self and your own knowledge of things, that's a Gemini. They say things like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Gemini and also Sagittarius tend to say stuff like that a lot. But yeah, so that's what's embedded in this new moon. There may be some situations to where we're called to say, you know what, it ain't even that serious. It's not that serious. Now this new moon is making some challenging aspects though. This whole month is full of this mutable energy because we have planets in Gemini, and then we have slower moving planets in two other mutable signs, Jupiter and Sag, and Jupiter stays in a sign for a year. And then we have Neptune and Pisces, and I believe Neptune's orbit, its transit is like 14 years roughly, within a sign. So it's there for a minute. But it is making aspects that are challenging to Neptune and to Jupiter. I would say this opposition to Jupiter is kind of weak though, in my opinion. I use 8 degrees of separation and or an 8-degree orb. And this is 8 degrees, technically, 20 minus 12 is 8. So, you know what I'm saying? This is a weak opposition, but I think this energy will still be in the mix. And this is kind of a weaker opposition too. It's not that, a weaker aspect. This is a square aspect. So it's not that strong, but it still has an impact. So with that being said, Gemini energy can be very just like quick to do things, right? Quick to make decisions, quick to do things. Neptune is confusion, delusion, illusions. It is trickery, magic, spiritual stuff. It's got a lot of good things about it, but then the negative aspect can bring out the more negative, which is not seeing boundaries, not seeing the truth of situations because you paint your own version of reality. And so with this new moon, there's a warning of that. Okay, there's a challenge with seeing what's really real. And then the opposition to Jupiter is, yeah, man, this is great. Everything's awesome. There's no problems. I don't see anything but positivity. No worries. That is Jupiter in Sagittarius all day. So the opposition is a challenge. So there's a challenge with seeing, excuse me. It could be a challenge with seeing the bigger picture, or with only seeing the bigger picture and not seeing the consequences, not seeing the more grounded realness of a situation. So we are being brought some newness with the new moon, yes, but there could be a challenge of like staying grounded in reality before making a decision. Okay, we could want to float off to La La Land. I think everything is just so beautiful with whatever newness is brought to us, but there's a weight hold up that has to be had within our minds, in order to analyze situations from a more grounded perspective. Okay, so that could be going on with this new moon. Okay, so Mercury moves into the sign of Cancer on the 4th. So on the 4th of June, Mercury goes into Cancer. Where's Mercury? Oh, okay, here it is. Okay. So it's probably like, yeah, let's move them. Come on, Mercury. So Mercury goes into Cancer, right? So Mercury is how we, oh wait, that's the moon. Dang it. So Mercury is how we communicate. It's what we're thinking about. It's how we process logic and data. And it's speaking, it's texting, typing, DMs, all of that. Writing, if people actually handwrite anything anymore. It's Mercury rules that. So when it's in Cancer, generally speaking, what are we going to be talking about? It's about family. It's about your true emotions. But see, Mercury in Cancer, Cancer energy gets very, very deeply emotional, but doesn't always speak about their emotions. It's like they do, but then there's times where they can hold them inside and let them fester. And then they just hold grudges, and it still seeps out in a little subtle but vengeful way. You know what I'm saying? So the lesson with Mercury in Cancer is, yes, speak about your feelings. Do not be the crab that has the shell that holds all the feelings inside. Speak about them. Let people know how you feel. Feelings are beautiful, you know? To feel is like one of the biggest, most beautiful parts of the human experience, no matter what. Even if the feelings are sadness and pain, it's a part of being human. So speak about them, okay? So Mercury in Cancer is all about that. But what we'll see more of as a collective is more talks about family values, mothers, you know. I think Father's Day is coming up. Yeah, Father's Day is coming up. And it's crazy that Father's Day is during Cancer season. When there's planets in the sign of Cancer, usually Father's Day comes about. And Cancer is associated with motherhood, but it's also family. And for some people, their father is a more Cancerian figure, like the nurturing figure in their lives. So, you know, you can't just kind of like be so cut and dry with the masculine and feminine, you know, as far as like gender and stuff with astrology. But this is normally a nurturing motherly energy. And so when we apply that to speech and communication, maybe we will be more tender and like, aw, when we talk to people and when we hear their stories. We may be more in tune with our emotions, you know, and actually allow ourselves to be touched by things. So Mercury in Cancer, this energy can kind of take things a little too personally at times and think that things are about them when they're not. I know a lot of Cancers. That's another one of those signs that I just really attract a lot in my life, especially in dating. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Anyway, but yeah, so they can take things too personally sometimes and think that things are about them. Like think that, you know, a Facebook post is subliminally about them, because Cancer energy is about subliminals. All the water signs are, especially Cancer and Scorpio. They're really good at picking up on subliminal cues, you know, and clues with things. So a Mercury in Cancer can be like, it's because Cancer is maternal energy, like the energy of the mother that has the baby that can't speak yet. So in order to know what the baby is feeling, thinking, what the baby needs, they have to really use their motherly instincts, maternal instincts, to tune in and be like, oh, this little noise means this little subtle facial expression change means that the baby needs this. So with Mercury in Cancer, we may be like that, but sometimes it can take it a little overboard. That's when, you know, the taking things too personally comes into play and thinking like, oh, that post was subliminally about me. And really it's like, no, it wasn't. It was just very cut and dry in general. Okay, Cancer. All right. But this is you know what I love about Mercury in Cancer? The time that Mercury's in Cancer, there's more like get-togethers, you know, because it's communication with people. So get-togethers and barbecues. I mean, at least in the part of the world I'm in the northern hemisphere, this is like summertime, and this is a time for barbecues and, you know, kickbacks and cookouts and get-togethers with family and friends and people that you hold near and dear. So Mercury in Cancer is about talking with those people, being very comfortable, you know, with those people, whoever you allow into your shell, which is your personal private world, and you feel comfortable expressing your feelings to, and you know, just talking with about memories of the past, and, you know, just sharing photos and scrapbooks and talking with your elders about their history and roots and ancestry, and all that stuff comes up with Mercury in Cancer. So it's a very beautiful Mercury sign. Just don't take everything up the buttocks. Okay, people? So Mercury is in Cancer until June 26th. So from June 4th until June 26th, Mercury in Cancer. Okay. And then on the 8th, this is when Venus moves into Gemini. So, here comes trouble. Here comes trouble with Venus and Gemini. Okay. So I'm going to say it's probably late day on the 8th. Maybe in some parts of the world, it may count as June 9th that the Venus moves into Gemini out of Taurus. So Venus in Taurus is like slow and steady. You know what? Let me tell you a little something about Venus in Taurus before she leaves that sign. As a Venus in Taurus person, I had somebody come at me, trying to somebody hitting on me, okay, just straight up, like somebody trying to holla, trying to spit game, but it was a little too spitfire and direct, like, come here, get over here, come over to my house now, like. And I was like, oh my gosh, what some nerve you have, young man, of speaking to me in that manner. I am not a microwave. I am a slow cooker. Don't demand me to just jump and fly to your house real quick and then leave after like 5 minutes. So Venus in Taurus is much like that. I am a slow cooker. I'm not a microwave. Okay. So the energy when it came to love could have been a little stagnant with getting things moving, but then once it moves into Gemini, that's a whole other story. Okay, so here we go. So June 8th, June 9th, depending upon where you live, Venus and Gemini. So once again, Venus rules love. Number one thing people like to talk about: beauty, vanity, money, our values, our possessions, our material world, enjoyment of the material world through the five senses. So that is Venus. Now, when it's in Gemini, this is variety. This is being fickle. This is like 1 second I like you, the next second, I'm not in the mood for you. And then maybe 2 minutes later, you know what? I changed my mind. I just looked at you again and I noticed how fine you were. And I'm like, hey, I like you again. So, it's a back and forth type of thing, and it's liking variety. So, Venus and Gemini is very much like a butterfly. It's a bouncy, fun energy. It's like, it's fun and bouncy. Like those are the words that come to mind when I think of Venus and Gemini. So it doesn't like to just stay in one spot. It's like, I like you, but I also like them, him, her, him, them. Variety to the max. Okay, variety, the house. So this can make us all feel this way in love to a degree. Now, this Venus and Gemini gets a bad rep. Okay, yes, it is one of the Venuses that are notoriously known for cheating. I'm not saying every single Venus in Gemini is a cheater. It all depends on where Venus is at in the person's chart, what aspects it makes to other planets. There could be an aspect from Saturn that anchors that Venus and Gemini down to where it's not like so all over the place wanting all these different people. Okay, however, Venus and Gemini by itself, just generally speaking, it does get bored very easily in love, and it wants variety. It's like, oh yeah, I hung out with you on Tuesday, but on Wednesday and Thursday I kind of want something different. Like I want a different flavor, you know what I'm saying? So it'll bounce off to hanging out with somebody else, and then they'll get bored of that person after 2 days and be like, you know what, I miss so and so, and then they'll call so and so back that they saw Tuesday and want to hang out with them on Friday. So it's like a back and forth with that. Now, as far as our interest and our taste, Venus and Gemini, it can be very fickle the same way. It's like one day you like mac and cheese, the next day there's leftovers and you're like, I ain't feeling that because I already had it yesterday. Even though mac and cheese is like my favorite, like I want something different today. So what can I seek out that's different? You know what I'm saying? Venus and Gemini is very curious energy. So this can mean curiosity when it comes to love, like so-and-so, I've seen them around a lot and I didn't really pay them any mind, but now I'm kind of curious about them. Like, what's up with them? So you can be very curious about other people. Now with our interests, this is like wanting to play games, board games. Venus and Gemini is heavily associated with board games, with any type of games, with sports games, because it's numbers and ever-changing stats, and people are constantly moving around. Things change a lot in sports. Although sports is very Mars and action oriented, very Mars and Sun energy or Aries and Leo energy. There's Gemini in the mix too, because of all the ever changing data and info, and and stats, and where the teams stand. You know what I'm saying? It's like one week a team is ahead, the next week they're behind. It can go back and forth, and that keeps people intrigued and interested because it moves so much and it's unexpected. So Venus and Gemini energy, good time to enjoy like games, sports games, jokes, memes. What else with Venus and Gemini? I noticed that Comic-Con, or some cities call it something else, but Comic-Con, the comic conventions, happen during Gemini season, either when the sun is in Gemini or other planets are in Gemini, or both. Because Gemini energy, I notice all the Geminis I know, they love comics, they love the Avengers, they love Iron Man, they love like all of that stuff, old or new comics. They love it. So it could be like enjoying stuff like that. So what else with Venus and Gemini? Style and fashion. When I think of Gemini, I think of a little pixie haircut that's carefree. You don't have to do much to it. It's short, it's sassy. It's like you can just get up and go wherever the wind takes you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I picture also like a really light spring green color is kind of like the aura of Gemini. It's very light, fresh, new, and what else with Venus and Gemini? I'll elaborate more on it when we get to the weeklies, as far as like fashion, style, and I do post stuff on Instagram that has to do with fashion and style and the signs. But Venus and Gemini, anything that's very short, spunky, sassy, carefree. With men, it's like, I picture dudes that do their hair a little spiky, or they have some youthful look to them, or they like to wear t-shirts that have funny sayings or comic book characters or something like that. I don't know. I'll elaborate more later. But yes, Venus and Gemini, bouncy, fun, carefree, fickle, yes. But it's here in Gemini from June 8th until July 3rd. So we have a whole month pretty much to enjoy that fun energy. Now, Venus will be making some aspects in mutable signs to Jupiter and to Neptune. So when this happens, this can be a month where people play games in love. I'm just going to be honest and real about that. People may play games in love. Venus and Gemini loves games. Oh, this is a game. Everything is a game to Geminis. Everything is a game of chess and moving your pieces. And then, let me see how I can strategically insert myself here. And then, I'm done here. Let me strategically move myself away. Like, that is Gemini energy. And then when it's paired with a square to Neptune and an opposition to Jupiter, which will happen later in the month, that is like, maybe people will be playing games, or maybe they will be back and forth with like, I don't know if I like this person. They'll be caught up in the fantasy of it all with the square to Neptune one day, like, yeah, they're so great. I just lose myself within them and with being in their company. But then it's like the next day, I'm not sure if I should have done that. Reality may settle in. And the opposition to Jupiter, and this all happens at the end of the month, like the 23rd, 24th. The opposition to Jupiter is like, go big or go home. I'm just jumping and flying and being free and fancy free. What is that? I don't know, whatever. I suck at old people sayings. Being carefree, just jumping and going after, So that happens later in the month too, around the same time. So that's what's called a T-square aspect between the planets, and it's very challenging. So there could be some disappointments in love. There could be people playing games with you, like trying to lie and deceive and be very on the lowest vibration of mutable energy, which is very tricky, trickster, deceptive, out to get what they want and get a kick out of, tricking people and rubbing their hands together. Yeah. I swear, you guys, I'm gonna find that meme I found of this dude doing that. Yeah. That guy has to be mutable. He has to be a mutable sign. But it's just like this energy of Venus and Gemini by itself on the lower vibration can bring that out. But then when we've got these two planets, it could be very deceptive, not grounded at all in the mix. I mean, just be careful this month with love, you guys. Don't get too carried away. Don't get too carried away. Okay. But more on that later in the weeklies. Okay. Now, the sun is also going to make aspects to Neptune and Jupiter that are challenging, especially like around the 8th and 9th. This is when the sun, it will make the square to Neptune, June 8th, June 9th, and then it'll make the opposition to Jupiter. Okay. So the 8th and 9th, we've got Venus entering Gemini, and then we've got this sun caught up in a T square. And also, look at this. I'll do the moon transits in the weeklies, but on the 9th, there's a grand cross, what we call it. See, an opposition, okay, between all the mutable signs. The moon is in the mix with this. So when this happens, around this day, it could be very fickle, push-pull, frustrating energy. Do I want this or do I not? Do I, seeing reality and then, I want to be caught up in the fantasy. It's, little bits and pieces of things. Oh, it's not that deep. It ain't that serious. And then, oh, wait, there's a lot of serious information that's a lot deeper that's involved. This energy could be very frustrating around the 8th and 9th, to where decision making is going to be hell, you guys. I'm just saying. So if anybody approaches you with something new or proposition or an offer of anything, that can mean love, that can mean career, you may feel at a crossroads during that time, like, I don't know, could be this, could be that, or people can be acting like that towards you. So you know what I'm saying? This is like what's going on around the 8th and 9th. So just be aware. People may be trying to play games. Maybe things don't come to a final decision the way that you would want them to. And you just got to give it some time for this energy to clear out in the next coming week or so, for things to be more clear. Okay. So Mars is making some aspects this month. Some crazy aspects. Okay, so the middle of the month, it is a little crazy. And I don't want that to scare people when I say that, like, oh my God, I gotta hide from the world. Like, no, it's nothing like that. It's a little crazy because, well, Mars is like our drive. It's anger, it's aggression, it's like moving forward, how we move ahead. And it's in Cancer, which is emotional. So, picture boiling water, slowly boiling up, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like a teapot, like it boils. And then when it's to that boiling point, it steams. It's like, and it makes that loud noise and stuff, right? So, and that means like the ultimate level of anger. So it may take a while to get there. And it's like, once it boils over, oh my goodness. So water combined with fire. Cancer's a water sign. Mars is a fiery energy. So that's how we're handling our anger. We could be very indirect and very not quick to anger, but like, take things personal, bring them into our shell, into ourselves, let it fester, and then come back out and be like, fine then, since you did this, this is what I'm doing, so you can know how I feel. And maybe not even directly saying that, but just doing petty little things, to get back at people in that way. That's what Mars and Cancer can do sometimes. But and also, as I mentioned before, Mars and Cancer is like, what you say about my mama, like it's very protective energy over your maternal figures, your family, and being very quick to anger and being very protective over like your ancestry, your roots, your lineage, your heritage. All of that stuff is Mars and Cancer. So anyway, Mars is going to make an opposition to Saturn, and I will elaborate more on this during the weeklies, but it'll oppose Saturn. But at the same time, and this is more like the middle of the month, so let's skip ahead. So Mars will oppose Saturn. Yeah, okay. It'll oppose Saturn, like let's say the 13th, 14th-ish. Middle of the month, it'll oppose Saturn. It'll be conjunct the North Node. It'll be conjunct Mercury, and it'll also be opposing Pluto. So around the middle of the month, there could be some like oppositions that are going on here literally within us. Between wherever Cancer and Capricorn are in your chart, you're going to have a push-pull opposition and challenges with coming to a decision. And they can be quite difficult, because there's the emotional side and then there's like the business and the, rational, logical side of things that you gotta go back and forth within yourself. And this all together, Mercury and Mars together, is very like you're quick to speak based purely on emotion and not with logic so much. And then the challenge with that can mean consequences, which is Capricorn. Okay, like having a little smack on the hand. And that can be from the universe, like smacking you on the hand some sort of way, because you were so quick to react and you didn't even look at what the facts really were, right? So, yeah, that's what this can mean. Now, combined with the North Node accelerates things. Whatever planet it touches, it accelerates it, and it can make it more like obsessive. So we could be obsessively like doing things purely based on emotion, speaking based on pure emotion. And then there's karmic consequences if we do. Okay. Now, this isn't saying to not speak your truth, speak your mind, speak how you feel. Yes, please do that. But don't be irrational. You know what I'm saying? Don't just right away think something's about you and it's not. And you just don't even think and you just, oh my God, you're so messed up. I saw that post and I know it was about me. So therefore, this is what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to be petty and I'm going to blast you online and post this embarrassing picture of you or some naked photos. Yeah, because of what you said, bitch. Okay, that is how this energy can act. Just a little example. And then as a consequence, which is the opposition to these two planets, imagine like two, like, elderly, stern dudes that are standing there with their arms folded, squinting at you, judging you. Like, are you serious? That's the look that they have on their faces, right? That's these two guys right here. They're going to be like, seriously, you didn't even... That post was not about you. I know I keep using that example, but trust me, I know a lot of Cancers, and this is exactly what they do. This is exactly what they do in real life, okay? So these two guys are like, that wasn't even about you. So we're going to teach you a lesson in being petty and just reacting so quickly without looking at the facts. Okay, you got some karma coming to your butt. So anyway, that's how this energy can act. So yeah, around the middle of the month, emotions are on high. Check yourself. Make sure that you think twice. Like, wait, I feel this way and I want to swing on somebody, but guess what? Because Mercury is the hands, Mars is fighting. So literally, I want to swing on somebody. I want to throw down. You know what I'm saying? But should I though? Like, is it really worth my time? Is it worth the consequences of possibly going to jail or whatever, losing an opportunity or whatever, So this is something that we're going to have to really be thinking about during the middle of the month. And also mid-month, around the same time that this is happening, is when we have a full moon in Sagittarius. Full moons, the moon rules Cancer, rules the same thing that Cancer rules, which is our emotions. And when it's full, emotions are on high. They are boiling hot. Okay, so the full moon is actually on it's on the 17th. The full moon is on the 17th, right? So where's it at? So it's when the sun and the moon oppose each other. They are in the same... Wait a second. Is it on the 17th? Yeah, but it's like early in the day, I think. It's at 25 degrees of Sagittarius. So yeah, there's a full moon. Maybe it's on the... Oh my God, maybe I wrote down the wrong day. Maybe it's actually on the 16th. Or it's just very early in the morning. Okay, if you're on the... All right, so it's very early in the morning here on the on Pacific time, okay? But it's like later in the morning, late day. Okay, but yeah, it's on the 17th, the full moon in Sagittarius. So this is between an opposition between the sun in Gemini, moon in Sagittarius. Jupiter is kind of in the mix here. It's in a conjunction, of kind of a wide conjunction, 7 degrees apart, but it's still in the mix. Neptune. So there's a lot of like mutable square and opposition energy this month, you guys. The new moon had that involvement, and also the full moon does too. So with this full moon, this is a final decision. This is a back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth this month with love, with money, with like with everything, all our decision making. And there could be a lot of lessons in not seeing the truth of matters and just kind of jumping with things, and maybe having a little bit of reality checks, especially with this going on right here. But the full moon, well, the moon conjunct Jupiter, this is like joy and happiness and expanding upon things. But Jupiter is also overdoing things, especially in its home sign of Sagittarius. They can really just jump and go for things, and then later on realize, nah, I shouldn't have done that. But it was fun anyway. Or, you know, what is that, guys? What's that movie? The Hangover. But did you die? You know, to me, that sounds very Jupiter, very Sagittarius. We went on this adventure and it was crazy and you know, it was dangerous, and it's like, oh my gosh, now we have the worst hangover ever. And then it's like, but did you die though? Like, you're still here. Just celebrate life. Woo! So Jupiter can be like that at times too. And the moon with Jupiter, yeah, this can bring abundance and stuff, you know, but it can also bring, because it's retrograde, maybe there's a lesson in overdoing things emotionally that's involved here. So, yeah, and this is Gemini versus Sag, which Gemini likes to take little bits and pieces of things and run with it. Sag is a little bit more of a researcher. When it comes to like the mind, it's a little bit deeper than that. So it's searching for meaning, could be a theme of this full moon in Sagittarius, deeper meaning behind things. What's out there for me also, because Gemini is like around the way. You know, your neighborhood. You know your neighborhood very well, usually, right? But do you know the rest of the world, though? Do you know your way around the world, around this whole planet? That's Sagittarius. So it's like, what's out there for me? What opportunities are out there for me? That can mean in love, money, work, career, anything. Just generally seeing life in a perspective that's higher and more grand. That is this Sagittarius energy. So there's a challenge here with like, how can I see beyond? You know, how can I see more and see myself as worthy of more? And then there's a square to Neptune, which is there's a little bit of fantasy involved. You know, fantasy could be good, but it can also be, because this is a challenging aspect, it's like not fully seeing the details that you should be seeing. So that's like the caution with this full moon in Sag. But yeah, some people will be like, this is such a lucky full moon. Yeah, but you know what? There's always another side to things. Let your homegirl here that has 7th house and Libra energy very heavy in her chart, which sees both sides all the time. Let me tell you something. Okay. So yes, this could be a full moon that's like, how can I be more abundant in life overall? And, you know, that's what it could be bringing to us. But yeah, emotions are on high mid-month, you guys. Just this conjunction here, I'm telling you, be careful driving. Don't get road rage. Mercury and Mars are also opposing Pluto. And that is, you know, the days after the full moon. And Mercury and Mars opposing Pluto. Now, I think of hands and violence and pain, like abuse and abuse of power and manipulation. There could be some of that going on, especially around the 18th, 19th of June. There could be some stuff like that going on. Yeah. And then we're going to have the moon in the mix here too. There could be a lot of themes around power, manipulation of power, abuse of power, manipulation through your power, of others, like just trying to control people through your emotions or through your status. There could be some people really engaging in that, you know, so just, I guess, be aware of that around the 18th, 19th, that could be going on. But yeah, other than that, then this is around the time too that Venus starts making these challenging aspects to Neptune and to Jupiter towards more the end of the month. So like I said earlier, when it comes to love and money situations, we could be easily deceived, or we could be tempted to be the deceiving ones, the deceitful ones, and play games and just kind of not even fully commit to things, just kind of bounce in and out. But you know, these aspects, I'm telling you, they're really good for creativity, really good for artistry, really good for, because this energy is totally outside of reality. It's not even, it's like everything beyond this world is reality to Jupiter and Neptune. So when we have Venus here in the mix, Venus is creativity, it's art. So, these aspects are really good for that. This is a really good month for artistry all together. Like the full moon, the new moon, the sun, aspecting these planets, Venus. You can have some of your best creativity come out because you're not in tune with the practical world. So all these ideas can come to you. But the thing is, you got to utilize some more grounded energy in order to make them really come to life and not just be ideas or dreams. So that'll be a challenge this month with that. But yeah, it's so beautiful for artistry. Like the most insane ideas, insane in a good way, will come to you if you're creative. And also, this is a month where people will want to escape reality. They'll want to jump into something new that's outside the norm. And in doing that, maybe there could be some really great lessons that come about. You know what I'm saying? It could be a good month for escapism and fantasy. I want to say, when is the EDC? Like, the EDC, I wonder if it's in June. I've never been to one. It looks fun. I'm not completely into that scene, but I'm curious about it. I would love to just check it out. It's not like a thing that touches my heart and soul, but I would just like to go just as people watch and just see what people do there. But I'm wondering, there could be some other festivals. If it's not the EDC, there could be some other festivals like that go on during like Gemini season, when there's like, aspects to there's Sag and there's Pisces in the mix. It's very escapist, bouncy energy this month. But yeah, you guys, that's it. Oh, and the sun moves into Cancer on the 21st. I forgot to mention that. Let me back up. The sun moves into Cancer on the 21st. So that's when Cancer season, quote unquote, begins. Although we've already had Mercury and Mars bringing Cancer season, Cancerian energy to us. So yeah, I'm going to say like early in the day or maybe the afternoon, depending upon where you're at in the world. On the 21st is when the sun moves into Cancer. So once again, there's a big focus on family, your roots, your ancestry, and your personal life, your feelings, how other people feel, being in tune with other people's feelings, being very empathic, very emotional energy. And not being afraid to express yourself emotionally. The sun is about expression in itself. So yeah, expressing your emotions one way or another. Just don't do it in any petty ways. Lord have mercy. The king of petty is 50 Cent, at least. But 50 Cent has a Gemini moon. Gemini can be very petty as well. So defensiveness by jokes and petty is definitely Cancer, Gemini energy combined. So there could be a lot of that this month. Petty clapbacks, okay, with Gemini, Cancer in the mix. But yeah, Cancer, the sun in Cancer comes about on the 21st of June. And it will be there until, I want to say like July 21st or 22nd. Let's see, July. When does the sun move into Leo? Yeah, the 22nd. Okay, so July 22nd or 23rd, depending upon where you are in the world. That's when the sun moves into. So yeah, it'll be June 21st to July 22nd, 23rd. The sun is in Cancer, gracing us with beautiful maternal energy. Honey, I baked you some cookies. That's the sun in Cancer, like that classic 1950s TV show Housewife. That's what I think of with Cancer. Oh, you're hungry. You haven't eaten yet. Oh. So yeah, it's a big old fest of like indulging in food that makes you, that's comfort food, or food that reminds you of like memories of your past, memories of your family, of your childhood, like really tuning into stuff. And just tuning into family and childhood and your past in general is the sun in the sign of Cancer. So, oh yeah, and also Neptune goes retrograde on this day. Where's Neptune at? Okay, Neptune goes retrograde on June 21st as well. Okay, so Neptune retrograde, that's going to last until November of 2019, or I think it's the 20th actually. Sometimes my ephemeris is like, it doesn't go by exact time, and so it's kind of hard. Okay, but this thing is like up to date. This website is up to date with like the time. Okay. So anyway, yeah, let's say June 20th, 21st, depending upon where you live and the time zone. Neptune goes retrograde. Now, Neptune is normally the fog machine. It brings a lot of illusions, lies, deceit, fantasy. You just really want to live in your head with what you want reality to be. Now, when Neptune is retrograde, that is like the fog machine is turned off and you are forced to go within to see reality. So this is going to last us for what, like 5 months? Yeah, for 5 months. So wherever Pisces is at in your natal chart, that's where Neptune is working. And you can start to kind of see things clearly. Let me tell you guys, many years ago, I was in a relationship that was very Neptunian. There were some, heavy Neptune aspects within our synastry, actually. And I at first thought of this man. Well, he was a boy back then. We were we were pretty much kids, very young. I thought of this guy as like Prince Charming, and I would call him that too. I was like, "You're Prince Charming. You're so great." And he was just such a dream at first. And then I went through whenever there was Neptune retrograde, I saw what was really going on. Like the fog machine was turned off, honey. Okay, big time. And my eyes were just wide with shock. I was shooketh to find out that Prince Charming was a cheater, was a liar, had a girlfriend when we first started dating. I found out and then another Neptune retrograde. The following year, I found out Prince Charming was doing crystal meth. And was abusive and stealing money out of my child's piggy bank. So Neptune retrograde, yeah, it can turn off the fog machine and you can see some stuff, man. Okay, I'm just saying. Now we have around the 23rd, 24th. This is when those when Venus is making those challenging aspects to Neptune and Jupiter that I talked about at the beginning of this video. So, it's playful, it's fun. It's here for a good time, not for a long time. Okay. Now don't let that scare you if you're in a serious relationship though. Maybe it just means there's some reality checks that you're going to have within that relationship, but it's not always going to be, oh my God, they're cheating. It's not always that. It's just maybe you saw someone that you love in a certain way and it's like, oh, I'm learning something different about you. Like I thought you were this, but hey, maybe I was wrong. Or it could be you guys escaping off into fantasy land together and you're still together and it still works out, whatever. But yeah, this is here for a good time, not for a long time, especially if you're actively dating around. Now on the 26th, this is when Mercury moves into the sign of Leo. So let me talk about that real quick. Mercury in Leo, yes. So it's like in the evening on the 26th, maybe the 27th in the eastern part of the world. Mercury is in Leo. Now, let me tell you something. Mercury actually goes into its shadow period. I'm going to say roughly between the 20th and 24th of June. Because let me just backtrack a little bit and then get into Mercury and Leo. Mercury is going to go retrograde in the sign of Leo, which is why I'm mentioning this. So Mercury, when it goes direct, it's going to go direct at 23, 24 degrees of Cancer, right? So it's going to repeat that degree of Cancer. So yeah, around the 20th, between the 20th and 24th, because we say like 2 weeks before Mercury goes retrograde is the shadow period. So I'm going to say around this time is when the shadow period begins. Let's say roughly the 20th. Okay. So this is the degree that Mercury, it's going to go back to and stop and sit and then move forward again. Okay, and then go back into Leo. So this is a very important degree. And Mercury is in a conjunction with Mars during this time. So yeah, around the 20th, just watch for what goes on with communication around that time and what you're thinking about. And Mercury ruled things like, data, information, logic, little tasks that you have, responsibilities, documents, agreements. Just look to what's going on around that time because it could come back. There could be some things that repeat themselves and come back around within the next like couple months with that. But yeah, so this is around the shadow when the shadow period starts, and then Mercury goes into Leo, on the 26th. Okay. And yeah, it goes into Leo here. So it's going to, right away, it's going to start making a square aspect to Uranus. Okay. It's going to make a square aspect to Uranus right away. Here's Uranus and Taurus. And it's also in shadow period. So there could be hella things that go wrong, like car failure, especially combined with Mars. There could be some issues with cars. Be careful. This is one of those be careful with car accidents type of transits. I'm going to say that, okay? Because Uranus causes sudden, unexpected, crazy things to happen out of the blue. It can cause electrical failures. And then this could be like mechanical things that go on. So and it's in shadow period, which Mercury in shadow and in retrograde, they're classic times for things going wrong with things that Mercury rules, little mechanical things, anything that has mechanics involved in it. Okay. But Mercury and Leo in itself, speech and communication will get more Leo like. Be talking more about entertainment, be more animated in our speech, and be more braggy, more boastful, more a little more pompous. For some people, they'll think that they're the shit, okay, and they'll be like, yes, I blah 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 blah, and they'll talk and want the attention on them and talk in a loud way to gain that attention. And if they don't get it, they'll get all booty hurt. Like, that's Mercury and Leo. So as a collective, we may have a little bit of this energy in the mix. But Mercury enters Leo here on the 26th of June. And so it's only going to get up to 4 degrees of Leo and then go retrograde. But I will talk about that with July horoscopes, because in July is the actual retrograde period. But yeah, just pay attention to what goes on between that 24 degrees of Cancer and 4 degrees of Leo Mercury time period, because aka like the last week of June, because that wherever Cancer and Leo are in your birth charts, if you know what houses they are and what they rule, that's where you can have the most, like, maybe miscommunications or some lessons in communication happen and stuff like that. So anyway, that's the month of June, you guys. It's Gemini season as I'm recording this, so I'm talking a lot. So I apologize if I talk too much and if it's boring, but hopefully if you are into lots of information, you were able to capture this to see how the month of June's gonna go. If I can give just a very like a summary, lots of push-pull energy, lots of emotions on high, and speaking and acting out of emotion and less logic can happen. Cat and mouse games, deception, but also good energy for artistry and good energy for escapism. But try not to overdo any of the escapism, because under these mutable squares is when people can lose control of themselves, especially when it comes to substances and stuff like that. Okay, so that's June, you guys. Like I said, look below the video, come back to it, because I will update things through the month of June as far as if any horoscopes are available or any specials or anything like that. Stay posted for the weekly horoscopes here on my channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. Not so often. I link my Instagram to Facebook. So, but I'll pop into Facebook here and there, but I'm mostly on Instagram the most, and Twitter, kind of, sort of. And I'm also on Instant Go. So you guys, I do have text readings. Like, you can, pay a small little fee. 11.11 is what my fee is right now for one question, and for one specific question, and for me to look at in astrology, and I text it back to you. So within the app. Or I do have readings, full-on readings that are available, but they're text, and you get them quicker than the recordings, because the recordings are like in high demand, and I usually have a really large queue backed up. So you can hit me on the Instant Go app. There's a link in the description box for that too. So peace out, everybody. I hope you have a good month of June. Be safe out there if you're doing summertime stuff, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.